Okay, so you're concerned about facial or lingual?
Both actually, but more
Well,
is lingual.
we can only be concerned with one thing at a time.
Yeah, then it will be lingual all.
Okay, so toward the gingival there's probably a little bit of undermined enamel.
Okay.
Maybe we could even take care of it with a hand instrument. So on the lingual side, again, I'm looking down the wall so I can see the angle. So your angle is a little bit acute, so let's come down this way.
Okay.
And make sure that you're cutting it with a hand instrument exactly perpendicular to the surface.
Okay.
The same thing on the facial side. Now, just a little bit of a trim here, but mostly you're pretty close. But make sure that when you're looking down the wall, you can see the exit angle and make sure it's perpendicular to the surface, right there. Okay, so axially, I went a little bit deep in here.
Deeper, yeah,
See the way you lean the burr this way?
Yeah.
You're undercutting the axial wall.
Okay.
Now, when people lean the burr away from the axis this way,
Okay, it should be.
look at the angle of the damage on the adjacent tooth. See, it's the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's because you were trying to look down this way.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
If you try to look down the axis, you will do this damage on the adjacent tooth every time. Now, your gingival clearance is pretty good.
Okay.
We could maybe make the floor a little more horizontal, a little flatter in this area. Get a little more uniform depth. But then when you go gingival, or when you angle the gingival floor, you'll get just the right amount of clearance and that'll be fine. But again, never try to look vertically down the axis when you're doing these preps. You'll always hit the adjacent tooth and undercut the axial wall.
Okay.
And typically you're going to undercut the marginal ridge too.
Okay. So I have to just put it.
Yeah, when we evaluate the prep, we look down the axis just like this. But when we do it, and when we're doing the box, we look this way.
Okay.
So you can see this angle
Okay.
and see this position.
Okay. Okay.
If you try to look down the axis, you can't see that angle, so you lean right into the adjacent tooth, and that's the angle you're going to be doing.
Okay.
That's where the problem is.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So go ahead and use your hand instrument here. Angle the gingival floor.
Okay.
Try to put a retentive groove in the facial lingual walls. You actually already have a groove there.
I have a glue there. It was with burr.
Yeah. And then go ahead and start 12 DO as a composite prep. Okay? All right. You certainly are. So why are you struggling? Why don't you just go farther gingerly?
We are not able to figure out the angle
Which angle?
on how to get the clearance.
Yeah, but what angle do you mean? The facial
just
exit angle is good. Lingual exit angle is a little bit obtuse. Look this way, so you see where you are axially.
Okay.
See in the monitor?
Mm-hmm.
I can see the difference between this and this if I'm looking the way I am. If you try to look down the axis, you won't see those differences.
Okay.
That's where the disaster happens. So we're going to go gingerly by drilling a hole there and then over here and cutting away from those walls. All right, so there's a new axial wall. And then all I have to do is get rid of the excess along the facial side and along the lingual side. Notice the direction I'm looking. I'm looking so I can actually see how close I am to the adjacent tooth. And then get rid of the excess in the middle. But I can see exactly how close I am to the adjacent tooth.
Okay.
How close do I want to be? I want to be right next to the adjacent tooth.
Yeah, because I was looking like this the other time.
Yeah, well, that won't work. You can't look down the axis and do a class 2. Now, so do you have enough gingival clearance now?
Almost.
Well,
I think I would like, yeah.
how much do you have right there? How much clearance do you think you have?
Not
So this clearance on the facial, that's about 0.5 millimeter.
Okay.
So clearance gingivally is what? At the most, 0.1.
Yeah.
So go farther gingerly and do exactly the way I did it. Drill a hole, cut away. Drill a hole, cut away. Get rid of the excess, and the excess. 7 steps. So go gingerly until you get clearance. So let's take a look. So you let your burr slip all the way around there, huh? So again, if you're cutting from the inside out, it's just going to keep on going. That's why we never cut from the inside out. We find the margin and we cut from the margin inward and over here. So the margin is now actually way out here, isn't it? So I'm going to ignore that, and I'll pretend like the margin's here. But we would cut looking from the outside in, or looking this way and cutting from the outside. Always cut from the outside in. Get the margin, get the angle, get the length, make the curve. Okay, so that's overextended, but that would have been closer to 90 degrees for the wall. And it's a flat wall. It's getting a flat wall that allows us to find the corner. And then cut away from that wall. So down the wall and away from the wall. That's how we start the axial wall. And on the lingual side, so you're getting a corner about the right place here. So drill a hole at the wall and cut away from that wall. When they come together, then we get the shape of the axial wall that's appropriate. Now the axial wall is going to have a lot of curvature in here because your facial wall went around the corner of the tooth. Okay, so anyway, now we can get rid of the excess along the facial, the excess along the lingual, the excess gingially. But just gently. Now, did you change number 4?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that's why I said change 4 and 5, because we don't ever want to work with a damaged adjacent tooth. Okay, but we'll keep working with this one. So anyway, get rid of the excess along here, get rid of the excess along there, get rid of the excess in the middle, and you won't have enough gingival clearance yet at that point, so go gingially again. Okay? Use those 7 steps until you get the gingival clearance.
Yep.
Now over here at the marginal ridge, you're cutting too close to the marginal ridge, you're undercutting the marginal ridge. The way I'm looking will allow you to control exactly where you are. First of all, you have to stop before you get too close to the marginal ridge. So stop here, not away over there. But if you're looking this way, you see everything you need to. You see the position of your wall, you see the angulation of the burr, you see you're cutting back and forth parallel to the marginal ridge.
So
you can
from
measure
where you start with then?
right here. Once you do the isthmus, once you get close to the marginal ridge, then look this way to do the wall at the marginal ridge. Okay, and then see how you're doing. So that would be a better position, but you can't be cutting into the marginal ridge that much or else it's going to kill it. Okay, so get rid of the excess facially and lingually and gingially. Go gingially again. 7 steps again. Try to get the clearance. Finish it with hand instruments, and then you can start 12 DO composite. All right. So still no gingival clearance, or not much, about 0.15.
How we can measure it? I don't
Oh, good question. Got an Explorer?
with this one?
Well, let's see. No, it's a ball burnisher. Let's get an Explorer. Should be right next to it.
Yes.
Okay. So the tip of this Explorer, if you're about 1 millimeter or 2 away from the tip, is about 0.5 millimeters wide.
Yes.
So you see you've got too much clearance over here. If that much goes through, way too much clearance over here. But gingially right here, not even the tip goes through.
Right.
Now you got a little bit of excess still at that margin, but still you need to go farther gingially. That's where we practice going gingially. So make a hole about right here.
Okay.
Cut away from that side. Make a hole about here and cut away from that side. So I'm going to move your axial wall a little bit. And then get rid of the excess along the facial wall, along the lingual wall, and then along the gingival. Can I see how close I am to the adjacent tooth?
Yeah.
I can see how close I am to the adjacent tooth. I can also see how deep I am axially. I can see the difference between this axial wall position and this one.
Right.
So you went too deep right over here.
Yeah.
But now we have some nice corners. We have a reasonable gingival floor width. But also important, we have just the right amount of gingival clearance. Okay, so use the hand instruments on both sides. Try to put a retentive groove over here. Angle the gingival floor. And then we can start on 12 DO, except for the fact, okay, this is not 12. Okay, good question as to what that is. It almost looks like 12. Yeah, but without a contact, you can't do the prep. Okay, so that's a whole different look.
Oh,
Okay, so let's go ahead and switch that. Maybe we'll get a, hopefully we get a contact. But remember, you can't do the prep without a contact. Cool. Okay, well now I'm happy with the tooth. Let's see what you have in the way of a 13. This does look more like 13, but do you have 13? Okay, so yeah, not the same tooth. Yeah, I mean, it might be that this 13 is, it's hard to say where it was made. That's the thing about Colombia these days. You know, a lot of teeth are made in China or other places. But we can't do a class 2 unless we have a contact. Sometimes we get desperate and we actually wedge it over with wedges. But see, there's a contact. How nice.
Yeah, it is.
And I suspect that there's something wrong with 14 too. But anyway, so we can do 12DO now. Yeah, we can do 12DO. So that'll work out fine. So you do 12DO as a composite, so don't get a 90-degree angle.
Just this circle.
Yeah, just DO.
Which I did.
Right there, do 12DO for this one.
Composite.
And for a composite, yeah. But first, finish this one up. Try to do a retentive groove on the facial. Angle the gingival floor.